ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 21, Instructions by Maharaj Prathu. We are in the section, text 37 to 44. Prathu Maharaj is establishing glories of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas in order to firmly establish the principles of devotional service. So we are at text 43. So text 43 describes that how the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas should be carried by everyone. Teshamaham pada saroj jarenu mayar vahedyadhi kiritamayuhu yam nityada bibhratamashu papam nashyatvam sarvagunam bhajanti. Translation.
O respectable personalities present here, I beg the blessings of all of you that I may perpetually carry on my crown the dust of the lotus feet of such Brahmanas and Vaishnavas until the end of my life. He who can carry such dust on his head is very soon relieved of all the reactions which arise from sinful life, and eventually he develops all good and desirable qualities. Purport. It is said that one who has unflinching faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which means unflinching faith in the Vaishnavas or the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, develops all the good qualities of the demigods. Yashasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvaira gunestatra samasate suraha. Bhagavatam 5.18.12. Prahlad Maharaj also said, Naishama matis tavad urukramang grahim. Bhagavatam 7.5.32. Unless one takes the dust of the lotus feet of a pure Vaishnava on one's head, one cannot understand what the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. And unless one knows the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's life remains imperfect. A great soul who has fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord after understanding Him fully and after repeatedly undergoing austerities and penances for many, many lives is very rare. The crown of a king is simply a big load if the king or the head of the state does not actually bear the dust of the lotus feet of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. In other words, if a liberal king like Prithu Maharaj does not follow the instructions of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas or does not follow the Brahminical culture, he is simply a burden on the state, for he cannot benefit the citizens. Maharaj Prithu is the perfect example of an ideal chief executive. Hare Krishna.
Now, to emphasize how important it is to Teshamaham pada sarojarenu, he's saying that, my dear citizens, I beg your blessings so that I will be empowered to carry the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas, such Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, perpetually on my head until the end of my life. And this is how. What will happen by that? This will, all the reactions arising from the sinful life will be eradicated and eventually develop all the good and desirable qualities. So this is greatness of Maharaj Prithu. So instead of just saying, carry the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas on your head, my dear citizens, he's saying, my dear citizens, I beg your blessings so that I can carry the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas on my head. This is actually this entire section, this entire chapter, text 21, is beautiful chapter on how to give instructions, and how it is chapter on how very good parenting, very good statehood, how to give instructions. So beautifully Maharaj Prithu is establishing the precedence here. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that whenever we have unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, yasya deve parabhaktir tatha deve yatha deve tatha guru, all the good qualities will begin to manifest in such a personality. And Srila Prabhupada gives three references here. Yasya deve parabhaktir, and then very famous shloka of Bhagavatam, yasyasti bhaktir bhagavate akinchana sarvair gunair tatra samasate suraha. We have seen this. Samasate means they come and sit on such a personality without extraneous endeavor. All such good qualities will come and sit on such a personality. Right? And then Naisham Tistavaturukramangra. This is the later, the fifth chapter of seventh canto. So one has to carry the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas, and then only one can understand the Supreme Lord and make one's life perfect. Otherwise, all the material responsibilities that we are carrying, they're simply, the huge burden that one is carrying around. And therefore, Prithu Maharaj, he is uh, he is asking the dust of the lotus feet of the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas on his head, so that he can, he is just instructing his citizens in this way. So, what is the dust of the lotus feet? Of course, it is the literal meaning. The dust of the lotus feet literally means the dust of the lotus feet. And it also means following the instructions of the spiritual master and senior devotees. So, this is the dust of the lotus feet. And third meaning of this is taking ahead the mission of the spiritual master, one's Shiksha Guru and one's Diksha Guru. So, following the instruction, literal dust, yeah, literal dust is there. And then following the instructions of Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. And third is taking ahead the mission of Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. These are the three meanings of carrying the dust of the spiritual master. Text 44. Very beautiful verse. I will just recite this. Gunayanam Shiladhanam Kritatnyam
गुणायनं
शीलधनं
शीलधनं
कृतज्ञम्
वृद्धाश्रयं संवृणुतेनु सम्पदा
वृद्धाश्रयं
वृद्धाश्रयं
संवृतनुतं
संवृणुतेनु
सम्पदः
सम्पदा
प्रसीदतां ब्रह्मकुलं गवां च
प्रसीदतां ब्रह्मकुलं गवां च
जनार्दनः सानुचरश्च मह्यम्
जनार्दनः
जनार्दनः
सानुचरश्च
सानुश्चरश्च
मह्यम्.
मह्यम्.
Translation.
Translation: whoever acquires the Brahmanical qualifications, whose only wealth is good behavior, who is grateful, and who takes shelter of experienced persons, gets all the opulence of the world. I therefore wish that the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his associates be pleased with the Brahmana class, with the cows, and with me. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is worshipped with the prayer Namo Brahmanya Devaya Gau Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Thus, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead respects and protects the Brahmanas and Brahmanical culture as well as the cows. In other words, wherever there are Brahmanas and Brahmanical culture, there are cows and cow protection. In a society or civilization in which there are no Brahmanas or Brahmanical culture, cows are treated as ordinary animals and slaughtered at the sacrifice of human civilization. The specific mention of the word Gavam by Prithu Maharaj is significant because the Lord is always associated with cows and his devotees. In pictures, Lord Krishna is always seen with the cows and his associates such as the cowherd boys and the gopis. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot be alone. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj said, Sanucharas cha, indicating that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always associated with his followers and devotees. A devotee acquires all the good qualities of the demigods. He is Gunayanam, the reservoir of all good qualities. His only asset is good behavior and is grateful. Gratitude for the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one of the qualities of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Everyone should feel grateful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he is maintaining all living entities and supplying all their necessities. As stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad 2.2.13, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidhatate Kaman. The Supreme One is supplying all necessities to the living entities. The living entity who is therefore grateful to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is certainly qualified with good characteristics. The word Vriddhashrayam is very significant in this word. Vriddha refers to one who is advanced in knowledge. There are two kinds of old men, those who are advanced in years and those who are experienced in knowledge. One who is advanced in knowledge is actually Vriddha, Jnana Vriddha. One does not become Vriddha simply by advancing in age. Vriddhashram, a person who takes shelter of a superior person who is advanced in knowledge, can acquire all the good qualities of a Brahmana and be trained in good behavior. When one actually attains good qualities, becomes grateful for the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and takes shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, he is endowed with all opulence. Such a person is a Brahmana or Vaishnava. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj invokes the blessings and mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with his associates, devotees, Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, and cows. Hare Krishna.
Now here, Prithu Maharaj concludes his message about who is a Vaishnava. So such a Vaishnava is Gunayanam, Sheeladhanam, Kritadnyam, Vriddhashrayam, Samvrunatenu Sampada. The Sampada, their opulence, is Gunayanam, Sheeladhanam, Kritadnyam, Vriddhashrayam. Those whose only wealth is good behavior, who is grateful, who takes shelter of the experienced personalities, Vriddhashrayam, gets all the opulence of the world. So amazing. May such a Supreme Lord. I therefore wish that the Supreme Lord and his associates be pleased with the Brahmanas, cows, and myself. And this is how Maharaj Prithu is concluding his message to the citizens. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the Supreme Lord is always worshipped by the prayer that Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. So the cows and are very dear to the Supreme Lord. Brahminical culture is very dear. And the advancement of the civilization can be gauged on how these two personalities, Vaishnavas and cows, are being treated. Right. Modern civilization we see, Prabhupada says cows are treated like ordinary animals sacrificed at the human civilization. And therefore there is a very specific mention of Gavam, the cows. Right. And second is Anucharasya, one who has the followers and the devotees of the Lord, how they are being treated. And then Prabhupada writes amazing thing. A devotee acquires all the good qualities of the demigods and therefore is called as Gunayanam, the reservoir of all good qualities. His only asset is good behavior and he is grateful. Right? Look at the words. Gunayanam, Sheeladhanam, Kritadnyam, Vriddhashrayam. Right? His only asset is grateful. What is amazing. I have seen such devotees. I mean, I should not say this statement, but otherwise, very simple people, very ordinary people. But simply by this one quality, that, what is that quality? That because they are grateful and good behavior, they have scaled to such heights in material life, also into spiritual life. So how you behave is far more important than what qualities, what intelligence you have, what wealth you have. And the behavior, Prabhupada writes, the good behavior is the only asset of a devotee. And this is so very true. Right? And further, the next word here is the living entity is therefore grateful is certainly qualified with all the good characteristics. So this gratitude, kritadnyam, is very important. The next word used is vruddhashrayam. Vruddhashrayam means taking shelter of those who are elderly. How we behave with our parents, how we behave with our seniors in the house. A lot of things depends on that, right? So therefore it is called as vruddhashrayam. Prabhupada says there are two types of vruddha: vayo vruddha, jnana vruddha, tapo vruddha, and one should behave with these personalities accordingly. Sometimes we may come across somebody who may be only aged, but not very good person, but still he has to be offered respect. The basic respect has to be offered to everyone. And then what to speak of those who are tapo vriddha, who are very advanced in tapasya, who are jnana vriddha, right? Who are very advanced in knowledge. Sometimes somebody may be very young person, Like I was meeting Amarendra Prabhu, such a young boy. So, but such a knowledgeable person. This is jnana vriddha. Jnana vriddha doesn't mean only he has to have a white beard, right? No, he's a jnana vriddha. We have to be very respectful. So there is tapo vriddha. We have to be very respectful. Somebody is doing huge austerity. Vayo vriddha. We have to be very respectful. Generally, what happens is somebody is vayo vriddha. We say, we have just wasted his life. Simply never chanted Hare Krishna. So I mean, we have to find a reason to respect, not that we find a reason to disrespect. So we find a reason to respect, right? And sometimes we may see somebody, a very young person, and having very great knowledge of the Shastra, and we may think, oh, yeah, he is just like a parrot, who has just memorized some shlokas here and there and speaks some good English. Let me see how long he lasts in bhakti. That is, the time will tell. And this is how we just become ourselves the reservoir of fault finding. And therefore, this Vajovriddha have to be treated very wonderfully. How we treat, I mean, it all depends on the behavior and how we treat people. It is very, very important. And there are so many examples. I mean, can give literally entire class on people who are treating. The classic example is Duryodhan. He's always sarcastic. He is seeing the army of the Pandavas and is coming to Dronacharya and is saying that, Pasha, what is that verse? He's saying, uh, Tava Shishyena Dhimata. Your intelligent disciple has arranged such an army, you know, and then always manipulative in speech, always sarcastic in his speech. This is how, this Duryodhan was. Exactly opposite was Maharaj Yudhishthir. Vruddhashrayam, a person who takes shelter of the superior person, who is advanced in knowledge, can acquire all the good qualities of a Brahmana and trained in good behavior. When one actually attains good qualities, one becomes grateful for the mercy of the Supreme Lord and the devotees, and thus he is endowed with all the opulence. Such a person is Brahmana or Vaishnava, and he is called as Brahmana or a Vaishnava. So it is about how you behave with superiors, seniors, your parents, your in-laws. I mean, there is a great misunderstanding with people that people are simply want to do some achievements. And of course, achievements are important. We are not saying achievements are not important, but they cannot come at the cost of the basic etiquettes in life. Otherwise, Radhanath Swami Maharaj says very beautifully, he says that your life will be filled with medals, but empty within, where you will be, crying for the basic satisfaction, basic santosh in the life, although your cupboard may be filled with so many medals, and cupboard may be filled with so many trophies. So this later it comes. Now only actually this is exactly what we see. Indra, his cupboard with filled with 100, his shatakratu, 100 sacrificial yajna, and showing all the tantrums and you know just describing what a low person he is. Again, Indra is a great personality. But in this case, he's describing Prithu Maharaj has one less mark. Maybe he has 96% in his 12th standard or something like that. And by the mischievous activities of Indra, but Prithu is extremely dear to everyone because of his good behavior and he is Kritagnya. This is called as Gunayanam, Sheelaghanam, Krutadnyam, Vriddhashrayam. Right? How you behave with elderly. So we will slightly conclude early today and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Thank
everyone.
you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.